Risch.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Secretary Clinton, in your opening statement, you addressed the people who oppose the ratification of the treaty, and particularly spoke to the ideology and the philosophical opposition that some people have to this. And I hope you weren't scoffing at us. I'm one of those that fall into that category because I have some deep-seated reservations on that basis. Indeed, most wars we've fought have been fought over ideology and philosophy. Indeed, our country was founded on that because we had a difference with Great Britain over that. So I consider that an important point. And to get this down even narrower, my problem is with sovereignty. If there's 288 pages here, and as you read it, there's some good stuff in here. But if we give up one scintilla of sovereignty that this country has fought, has bled for, have given up our treasure and the best that America has, I can't vote for it. So I want to talk about a couple of those and focus on those if we can. First of all, with all due respect, you defended the opposition, or you challenged the opposition who said that there's nothing in here that requires that we do certain things regarding the Kyoto protocols and environmental type things. If you look at Article 222, and I'm going to quote from that article, which says that the signatories to this treaty, quote, shall adopt laws and regulations and take other measures necessary to implement applicable international rules and standards established through competent international organizations or diplomatic conference to prevent, reduce, and control pollution of the marine environment from or through the atmosphere. That's got Kyoto written all over it. And what it's got written all over it is any time the UN calls a conference or what have you, they all get together, they all sign on to it. And even though we disagree, by adopting this treaty, we have said that we will adopt it, even though we don't agree with that particular treaty. So with all due respect to the legal interpretations you say you have, and I've read thousands of pieces of legislation, this is written in plain English. And I don't know how you can argue that after this is adopted by Congress or by the Senate, if it is, how we're going to get around the fact that we have agreed that we will adopt these laws and regulations.
You want to give it to me?
Well, Senator, I join you in being absolutely 100% supportive and protective of American sovereignty. I have spent much of my adult life, in whatever role I have found myself in, defending and arguing on behalf of our country and our rights, and will continue to do so. But I would strongly argue that, number one, our sovereignty will be considerably enhanced by joining this treaty. And number two, with the specific question you asked, our reading of that and the information about the meaning of it goes back to the very beginning of the treaty, because we've had American negotiators at the table from the very beginning, is that there is nothing in what you read that requires any particular standards. There is nothing that requires any subject that is going to be put to dispute settlement. It calls on parties to participate in discussions, conferences, and the like concerning environmental issues that might come to impact the oceans. And, you know, for the record, I will give you a longer written response, because I really do want to put your mind at ease as much as I'm able to, because I believe so vehemently that acceding to this treaty is in America's sovereign interest, or I would not be sitting here.
Thank you. And I want to see the additional explanation. I'm open-minded on it, but well, I'll tell you, this language is just so black and white and so straightforward that says America shall adopt laws and regulations that are in conformance with anything adopted by a competent international organization. Well, let's turn to another provision that I have real difficulty with. As I understand it, since 1776, we have never ceded our authority as far as taxing American people or American companies are concerned. If you read Article 82, subsection 4, it talks about, and well, start with Article 82, it talks about us taxing or us requiring a tax of these companies that operate out in the waters, mining or pumping or what have you. Section 4 says, the payments or contributions shall be made through the authority which shall distribute them to states parties to this convention on the basis of equitable sharing criteria, taking into account the interests and needs of developing states, particularly the least developed and landlocked among them. Why, oh why, oh why, as we as Americans give up our taxing authority, handing money over to the United Nations to develop some kind of a formula that we have no idea what it's going to say, and allowing them to distribute our tax money according to some formula that's very vaguely set out here. Why would we do that?
Well, Senator, we're not doing it, and I can tell you that without fear of contradiction. The convention does not provide for or authorize taxation of individuals, corporations, or otherwise. There is a royalty arrangement that kicks in after 5 years of drilling and extraction from the ocean. Payments that would be related to the continental shelf beyond 200 nautical miles go through, not to, one of the convention bodies, the Seabed Authority. They're held there until agreement is reached on disbursement of the funds, if agreement is ever reached. The distribution formula has to be agreed to. The United States, with its permanent seat, would have to agree to it. And the payments would mean that we were actually extracting valuable resources from the extended continental shelf. This is supported by the American oil and gas industry because it only applies to such areas beyond 200 nautical miles. And I would note, too, Senator, there is nothing unprecedented about payment being made under treaties for various benefits, because here the benefit is being absolutely legally assured of sovereign rights over a vast area of common ocean and the legal certainty that comes with that. And we already make payments to the International Telecommunications Union, for example, because it helps to regulate the use of spectrum and associated orbital slots to protect U.S. radio communications from harmful interference. So there are precedents that demonstrate why this is in our interest. Nothing is agreed to unless everybody in the convention agrees to it. Now, standing on the outside, there may be something agreed to which will later be something we don't like, but we will not have been able to veto it, which we could if we were on the inside.
My time's up. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would just say that I find very little comfort in taking the seat, as Secretary Panetta talks about, in a group of 160 countries, most of whom don't like us, many of whom hate us, and us having one vote amongst 160. I think we're going to have a really tough time. Thank you, Mr.